Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another real story with you. You will be shocked to learn how an ordinary person turns into a dangerous serial killer and uses terrifying conspiracies to kill people. This story is about a serial killer. But why did this person become such a deadly serial killer, and what circumstances forced him into it? The reason behind it is even more shocking. This story begins in the Ramanagara district of Karnataka, India. Ramanagara is about 50 kilometers away from capital city Bengaluru, and within it there is a place called Kudur. In this town lived a man named T. Siddhalingappa. He worked in the fabrication department and occasionally visited several red light areas in Bengaluru. During one of his visits to a red light area, he met a woman named Chandrakala. Over time, the two continued to meet frequently in the same red light area, and their bond grew stronger. As more time passed, their friendship turned into love. However, Chandrakala was a sex worker in the red light area, and Siddhalingappa was fully aware of this fact from the beginning. Despite knowing everything, he fell in love with Chandrakala. On the other hand, Chandrakala believed that Siddhalingappa truly loved her because he accepted her despite knowing her reality. This made Chandrakala fall deeply in love with him as well. She felt that Siddhalingappa was meant to love only her. Siddhalingappa also cared for Chandrakala deeply and always looked after her. After some time, Chandrakala shared details about her family with Siddhalingappa. She told him, "Before becoming a sex worker, I lived with my family. After completing my education, I wanted to get a job to support my household." Siddhalingappa was shocked to hear this and asked her, "Your family is so good, and no one in your family was ever a sex worker before. So how did you end up becoming one?" Hearing this, Chandrakala revealed the reason behind her becoming a sex worker. She explained that while she was searching for a job, she met a few women from her own village. Since they were familiar to her, they convinced her to go with them, promising to help her find a job. Trusting them, Chandrakala agreed and traveled with them to the city of Mysore in Karnataka. However, once they reached Mysore, these women, under the pretense of helping her find a job, forced her into prostitution. Chandrakala told Siddhalingappa, "I never wanted to do this work by choice. Becoming a sex worker was not my decision. It was my helplessness. At that time, I fell into their trap of deception and conspiracy." Besides this, Chandrakala also told Siddhalingappa that when she asked all of them to let her return to her family, they told her, "You cannot go back home. If you do, we will tell everyone that you were a sex worker in Mysore. How do you think your family and the people in your village will see you after that?" After hearing this, Chandrakala, in order to save herself from this humiliation, kept the matter hidden and never revealed her secret. However, the money Chandrakala earned from sex work was partly sent to her family, but her family had no idea about the kind of work she was doing. Chandrakala had told them that she was working a regular job there. After listening to Chandrakala's entire story, Siddhalingappa became deeply saddened. Tears welled up in his eyes, and he even started crying. He then said to Chandrakala, "You did the right thing by telling me about yourself. If you hadn't, I would have never been able to understand you." Hearing this, Siddhalingappa thought to himself that Chandrakala was exactly the kind of woman he had been searching for. Besides this, Siddhalingappa also understood the helplessness behind her situation. Then he asked Chandrakala about the people who had deceived her and forced her into this work. Chandrakala began revealing the names of those who had pushed her into this trade. There were a total of 7 people. Among them, 4 were women, and 3 were men. Siddhalingappa carefully noted down all the details in a list based on what Chandrakala told him. She said, "These are the 7 people who ruined my life and turned it into hell." Siddhalingappa then told her, "Now I will do what needs to be done." With that, he carefully kept the list with him. As time passed, the month of May began. During this time, Siddhalingappa was in Bengaluru. Among the names on the list, one of them was a sex worker who was currently living in Bengaluru. In fact, she was the first woman who had betrayed Chandrakala. This sex worker was nothing short of a villain in Chandrakala's life. Siddhalingappa decided to take revenge on her. One day he contacted her and asked her to meet him at a secluded place. The woman arrived at the location within a short time, as Siddhalingappa had instructed. As soon as she got there, Siddhalingappa strangled her to death. After killing her, he began dismembering her body into small pieces. Then, he scattered these pieces in different locations outside Bengaluru. This was Siddhalingappa's first murder. Now, instead of 7 names, only 6 remained on his list. As May was coming to an end, Siddhalingappa left Bengaluru on May 30th and traveled to Mandya, as that was where he expected to find the rest of the people on the list. Chandrakala also came to Mandya with him. She had an acquaintance in the area who helped them find a rental house to stay in. Chandrakala and Siddhalingappa moved into this house together. On May 31st, Siddhalingappa invited the second woman responsible for Chandrakala's suffering to his house. Within a short time, the woman arrived, unaware of what awaited her. Inside the house, Siddhalingappa strangled her to death. After killing her, he dismembered her body once again. Then he placed the body parts onto his motorcycle. Chandrakala sat behind him on the motorcycle, holding the pieces. The two of them rode some distance to a nearby river. There they began tossing the body parts into the water at different intervals, ensuring that they were scattered. After dumping the body parts into the river, both of them return home. As time passes, 3 weeks go by, and then T. Siddhalingappa opens his list again. This time, Siddhalingappa looks at the third name on the list. On June 8, 2022, he contacts this woman and invites her to his house. Just as he had strangled the first 2 women to death, he strangles the third woman in the same manner. Siddhalingappa then dismembers her body and gets on his motorcycle. Along with him, he also places the body parts on his motorcycle. Chandrakala also gets on the motorcycle with him. At night, Siddhalingappa rides his motorcycle toward the same location where they had disposed of the first woman's body parts. However, this time they dump the third woman's body parts 25 kilometers away from that location before heading back home. But later that same day, on June 8, 2022, a man was passing by the banks of a pond in Mandya. He came across a dead body lying near the pond, and upon seeing it, he became extremely frightened. The body had been mutilated so badly that only the lower half of the torso was found on the shore, while the upper half was missing. The sight was horrifying. The man immediately contacted the police and informed them about the discovery. Upon hearing about the incident, the police quickly arrived at the scene. When the police reached the location, they were shocked to see the condition of the body. They immediately began searching for the remaining body parts, but despite their efforts, they found nothing else in the area. However, a few days later, another dead body was discovered in a different pond, 25 kilometers away from the first one in Mandya. Since this location fell under a different police jurisdiction, another police station's team responded to the scene. However, the first police team also learned about this new discovery. Upon hearing about the second body, the first police team decided to visit the second police team to gather more information about the case. They suspected that the second body might be the missing upper half of the first body they had found earlier. To confirm this theory, the first police team arrived at the second police station. However, when they examined the second body, they were shocked to learn that it was also missing its upper half, just like the first one. This confirmed that both bodies were of different women, and their upper halves were missing. The similarities in the way the two bodies had been mutilated led the police to suspect that both murders had been committed by the same person. Now that the police had gathered these crucial details, they officially launched an investigation into the case. This case was going to be extremely challenging for the police because both bodies were missing their upper halves, making it very difficult to identify the victims. The police then began their investigation by searching the Mandya region and surrounding areas. As they expanded their investigation, they looked into missing women cases across Karnataka and neighboring states to determine how many women had gone missing and remained unaccounted for. Meanwhile, the forensic team continued examining the two bodies the police had recovered. During their analysis, the forensic team determined that the two women were likely between 25 and 35 years old. They then shared this information with the police. In an effort to identify the victims, the police printed and posted numerous missing person posters in the surrounding areas, displaying the details provided by the forensic team. The police had compiled a list of women who had gone missing from Karnataka so they could track down those who had disappeared. At the time, the IGP in charge formed a total of 9 police teams to investigate the case of the two dead bodies. Each of these teams included 45 police officers, and their primary task was to gather information about the two missing women. They needed to determine who had murdered these women and why. To uncover the truth, all the teams began their investigations in the surrounding areas. Based on the forensic team's findings, the police team started searching for women who were between the ages of 25 and 35. Across Karnataka, the police teams identified 1,116 missing women who fit the criteria. All of these women had disappeared from their homes. With so many missing individuals, it was extremely difficult for the police to extract relevant information about the two specific women they were searching for. However, they continued their efforts, hoping to uncover clues about them. To gather more details, the police teams visited the homes of these missing women and questioned their families about their disappearances. During the investigation, the police teams discovered that the two women they were looking for did not match any of the missing women from the list. This was because more than half of these women had been missing for a very long time. However, from the condition of the bodies, it appeared that the victims had been missing for a significant period. Additionally, some of the missing women had disappeared after the two bodies had been discovered. The police continued their investigation, gradually narrowing down the list as more and more women were ruled out as potential matches. In the end, only a small number of women remained whose details the police still needed to verify. As the investigation progressed, the month of June passed and July began. During this time, a police officer traveled to a village in Bengal. Upon arriving, he learned that a woman had also gone missing from this village. Further inquiries revealed that she had disappeared at the beginning of June. This led the officer to suspect that she might be one of the two missing women they had been searching for. The officer collected some of her photographs from her home. As he examined one of the pictures, he was left in shock. On June 8, 2022, when the police had discovered the lower half of a body, the clothing found on it matched the clothes worn by the woman in the photograph. This strengthened the officer's suspicion that she could be one of the victims. The officer then asked the woman's family about her mobile phone and number. Once the police obtained her phone number, they retrieved her call records. The records indicated that her last known location was in the Mandya area. Given these findings, the police became convinced that this woman was indeed one of the victims. They then showed the recovered clothing to her family, who confirmed that the clothes belonged to their daughter. With this confirmation, the police were certain that they had identified one of the victims. However, while they had now uncovered the identity of the woman, the search for her killer was still ongoing. Now, the police re-examines the remaining call details of this woman. As a result, they come across multiple phone numbers. The police then begin calling these numbers. After repeatedly making calls, they identify 3 numbers that seem suspicious. The police suspect that one of these 3 individuals might be responsible for the woman's murder. Because of this, they start monitoring these 3 phone numbers closely and investigating their owners. Eventually, they discover that one of the numbers belongs to a person named T. Siddhalingappa. The police then call Siddhalingappa and have a conversation with him. Soon they find out that the last known location of the murdered woman and the last known location of T. Siddhalingappa were the same. Additionally, the date and time also matched. This deepens their suspicion of him. Shortly after, the police arrest Siddhalingappa and bring him to the police station. At the police station, the officers interrogate Siddhalingappa, but he does not provide satisfactory answers to their questions. They also show him all the evidence, but he repeatedly denies everything. As a result, the police begin questioning him more aggressively. Eventually, Siddhalingappa confesses to the murder of the woman and also reveals that he has killed a total of 3 women. Upon hearing this, the police are shocked. Then one of the officers says, "According to your list, you plan to kill a total of 7 people." However, upon hearing this, Siddhalingappa corrects them and says, "No, I plan to kill 8 people in total." The police then ask him about the 8th person. Siddhalingappa reveals that the 8th person was none other than Chandrakala herself. The police then ask him, "You killed 3 women because of her, so why did you want to kill her too?" Siddhalingappa replies, "After committing 3 murders, I started seeing myself as a great serial killer. In fact, even after killing those 3 women, I remained free for a long time, and the police had no clue about them. I truly believed that the police would never be able to catch me. But then one day I suddenly thought that if I ever got caught, it would be because of Chandrakala. If the police had arrested me, I would have never told them the truth, but Chandrakala would have revealed everything to them. Also, since all of the victims were people she knew, the police might have suspected her too. She could have told someone about the murders. I felt that as long as Chandrakala was alive, there was always a chance that the police would catch me. I also believed that if I killed Chandrakala, then I would be the only person who knew about these crimes, and no one else would ever find out. Because of this, I decided to kill Chandrakala as well. However, before I could kill her or anyone else, the police arrested me. By capturing me, the police not only arrested a serial killer, but also saved the lives of Chandrakala and 4 others. After uncovering all of this information, the police took Chandrakala into custody as well. They did this because Siddhalingappa had not acted alone in the murders of the 3 women. Chandrakala was also involved. These murders were committed with her approval. Furthermore, she was present when the bodies were being disposed of. Because of this, neither Siddhalingappa nor Chandrakala could escape the law, and both of them remain behind bars to this day. So this was today's story. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. We hope you enjoyed the content and found it valuable.